We gotta look back at this.
How does he maintain possession?
Jenkins, and that definitely was a little helmet-to-helmet on that hit.
Guys, Meredith Gorman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
NFL Week 18 is here, guys. Yes, the last week of the regular season. This week can be a little tricky. I'll tell you guys why. Obviously, guys are sitting. Teams are playing for nothing. Some teams are playing for everything. We'll break that down, along with 3 games as well. Provide my favorite underdog and teaser options like usual. We'll look at the big game, of course, Miami versus Buffalo. Huge game out there on Sunday night for the division. Colts versus Texans. Big game on Saturday. We'll talk that. Probably toughest game on the schedule to predict. And what else here? And we're gonna talk possibly Bill Belichick's final game with the Pats. I think it will be. Most people probably do. Some people do think possibly he could come back. We'll talk Pats versus Jets, just for the hell of it. Systemsportscapping.com is the website, or link.me /system capping for client opportunities, resume, records, client comments, and more. NFL Week 18 client card is now available. If you're watching on YouTube, click that like button. It is much appreciated. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, 5-star rating would be much appreciated. NFL Week 17 recap. Nice week for myself and clients and free play video viewers as well. We had some nice wins with Ravens, -3.5. Them on a money line in the 2-teamer with the Rams. Cowboys, Raiders, +3.5. We did go 2-1 in the player prop market. 2-0 in the Vikings-Packers game in the totals market. We were all over the rookie QB in the Vikings to struggle. That's exactly what he did. Took total in the under in the game and team total in the Vikings under. Over 64% in totals on the year. Tampa was the surprise, right? Tampa ruined an excellent weekend, from a good week to an excellent weekend, because of Tampa. Didn't show up at home. Very surprising. Very surprising they didn't show up at home. We had Tampa. I had Tampa in the teaser market +4. Couldn't even cover that. You know, they were rolling, playing 4 good games at home. Saints weren't playing great football coming into that game. And they showed up. So tip my cap to Saints. Obviously, they were up. At one point, I think they were up 20-0 or 17-0 in that game. I didn't watch it. I was at the Baltimore game live. But I know Bucks made a comeback late, but it was just too late. Very confused on that one. And, of course, the Eagles losing to the Cardinals. I know Eagles are struggling, right? I expect them to win the game. The line was 10.5. Probably should have played the Cardinals +10.5. I didn't think they were going to cover that. But you just never know when the Eagles are going to show up with a big win. And they just continue to struggle. Don't be surprised if Giants hang around there and maybe even steal that game. Eagles are just not playing good football right now. The defense is terrible. I think their defense is one of the worst in the NFL. Right, their offense, sure, it could get going at times. And it did in that Cardinals game. They put up a ton of points. They just couldn't stop anybody. Couldn't stop me right now if I was at QB. Let's do a futures market update here, guys. Futures market update. 2 more winners in the futures market. Moving to 6-0 on the year, guys. Futures market regular season, always fairly good. Last year, actually, wasn't it... 2 years ago, we had the best year. I think it was like 9-0 or 8-0. Last year was profitable, but not the best. This year, we're right back on track. What do we have this week? We had the Chiefs winning their division -160 full unit, and Ravens winning their division at +225. Great value there, +225. All over the Ravens this year in the futures market, and it's really paying off. Right, 4-0 now. We hit Ravens over 9.5 wins, best bet. Ravens over 10.5 wins, plus money. Make the playoffs bet, win the division, and now we have the one pending. The big ticket, the one that we want to win. Hopefully we can. Fingers crossed. I do expect the Ravens to make a run. +1,800 Super Bowl. Current line's like +400, guys. So great value there on the Ravens, all over them. The market was sleeping on them. I take advantage. 2023 recap. Let's do a recap of a fantastic year for myself, clients, and free play video viewers. Our biggest PGA season yet was this past year, guys. 16 outrights, over 30,000 in ticket value, over 20 units in the prop market, 21-7 free play short videos, guys. 95% of them were golf. I got to say that. There was an NHL in there. I think a soccer as well. May have been an NFL, but 95% of them were the golf market. And two of my biggest single ticket winners ever cash this year, right? Harman plus 11,000 at the Open and Grillo plus 8,000 at Charles Schwab. You got to try to find value out there, and that's what I did. Harman, people ask, how did you bet Harman? How did you bet Harman? Because I had Harman when I do my numbers at plus 8,000 for that tournament. Always played well there. It's one of his best courses on tour, guys. It's not shocking. You know, people are like, oh, there's obviously haters out there, right? Oh, you just bet all the outrights, and why did you bet that, this and that? It's because I do research, I do my homework, and I know the PGA very well, guys. Right? Get on board, become a client, and start winning long-term betting on all sports. I'll teach you how to do it. Right? You find value. And Harman plus 11,000 was crazy. Was crazy. I had that when I do my numbers at plus 8,000, so ton of value. Grillo plus 8,000 at the Charles Schwab. Again, one of his better courses on tour. I had him at plus 6,000. So that's how you bet outrights, because you bet outrights with value, right? And then you bet a few, favorite outrights. You have to, because a lot of favorites do win. But try to find value in the outright market. Come on board as a client. I'll teach you how to do that. We also moved over to Spotify and Apple Podcasts after several requests from clients, viewers, etc. I should have probably done that earlier, to be honest. Shout out to a long-term listener, day one guy, client as well, Shaheen, who requested audio, which made me pull the trigger on it. More work, of course, though, right? It's a little more work, but I am getting more listeners. Between the two, I am getting more listeners in the audio platform, it seems. So definitely a good idea there. UFC, another profitable one, right? Another profitable one, making 8 straight years. 4 documented with clients. 68% Two Fight Parlays was the highlight. I usually do 2 fight parlays each card. So this is a high volume, right? Every card I'm pretty much doing a 2 fight parlay. Not every card, but I would say 90% of the cards. We're 68% on those this year. And those are mainly around plus money, low minus, like minus 110 maybe, minus 120 at the odd occasion. But they're mainly even money plus money. Right, 68% all bets average line plus money. Right, that's important there. The average line plus money. I bet a lot of outcomes. I bet a lot of not big favorites. Right, minus 110, minus 120, even money, minus 150 are usually the highest that I'll go. But yeah, I love to find outcomes, which improves that average line. Right. NFL update as well. 2023 plus 1,100 KC over Eagles exact finals, right? That obviously cashed in February. That was a nice hit there. 6-0 futures market this season was the highlight in the regular season. Over 18 units in the regular season. 82 units the last 2.5 seasons. 72% best bets long term, guys. NHL and NBA markets also profitable going back to last season and this season. NHL has been a bit better long term. NBA is a little lower volume. NBA go on runs, don't go on runs. I don't bet a lot of volume in the NHL and NBA. I'll usually have a bet or two per week. So not a lot of volume there. But hey, NHL and NBA the past two, besides NHL the past 2 years have been excellent, right? Hovering around the 64 to 66% range. This year started a bit slow, just got profitable recently. The NHL market, I did have to adjust a little bit. A lot of upsets early in the year, so we did have to adjust. We're getting back on track now. Let's get into some news and notes here. Let's start off with a fun fact. The Ravens are the first team in NFL history to win back-to-back games by 10 plus points over 11 win teams. That's a deep stat that we found there. But that's crazy. Proves that they're the best team in the NFL. It's not even close. Lamar Jackson wraps up the MVP with his line. Listen to this line. I'm sure you already heard it, but we'll go over it again. 18 for 21, 321 yards passing, 5 TDs, no interceptions, and a 158.3 passer rating. Perfect rating. Another fun fact, Huntley came in and also had a perfect passer rating. So both QBs had perfect passer ratings in that game. That must be history. I can't really tell you 100%, but it could be. I'm sure it happened before, but probably not for a while. Teams that will be resting, guys, keep this in mind. Do your own homework. You can Adam Scheffler, Ian Rappaport, follow those guys. Those guys are great with keeping you update there. Teams that will be resting, guys, this week. So be careful when you're betting games this week. I already have factored that in. Ravens, resting guys. Browns, resting guys. Bengals are favored by 7 in that game right now. Christian McCaffrey's out for the 49ers. They'll be resting guys. I haven't seen a full list of guys that 49ers will be resting. Rams are resting everybody, though. Rams will be resting like their main guys, so keep that in mind. That's why 49ers are favored by like 4.5 right now still. The Chiefs wrapped up the division and will be resting guys as well. No Mahomes so far. Haven't heard from other guys as of yet, so check Friday. Friday will have all that. I suggest, unless you find some value, I already have an early client card, just 3 bets. But I suggest, wait till Friday to maybe pull the trigger, especially on player props. If you bet player props, wait definitely till Friday, Saturday, before you get the final go of who is playing. Right? Chargers are currently favored by like -3.5 in that game. That tells you a lot. Mahomes should sit and pretty much their main guys. QB's confirmed this week. Tyler Huntley will start for the Ravens. Keep that in mind. No Lamar Jackson. I thought Lamar maybe would go like a quarter or a half, but no. They're resting him. Huntley's good quarterback. Good quarterback. One of the better backups in the NFL. We'll see Wentz versus Darnold in the Rams 49ers game. That's fun. Mullins back for the Vikings. Some other Driscoll for Cleveland. Just to name a few. Head over to Adam Scheffler's page. You'll get the whole rundown there. Divisions. Jags win. They win a division. Simple. If they lose, winner of the Texans and Colts win it. Jags are at Titans. I need the Jags to win that game. I have a pending Jags future to win the division. So yeah, we need Jags to win there to keep that nice streak going in the futures market. Not easy to play in Tennessee, but Tennessee's coming off a beating against Houston, and Jags looked good last week. Bucks play Panthers. Bucks win, they get in. It's simple. They win the division, NFC South. I expect them to do so. I expect them to beat the Panthers, even though they did not show up last week. Panthers, anyone could beat them. Winner of the Dolphins and Bills will win the division. Another huge game. I'll be breaking that game shortly. Can't wait for that one. Quick Baltimore trip recap. Fun times in Baltimore. First time actually in Baltimore. I've been to a lot of Baltimore games on the road, but never out to Baltimore. Had great seats. Did a VIP tour of the stadium. You can see if you're watching on YouTube some videos and some pictures here from the trip. Did some fireworks, steakhouse on New Year's. First time in Baltimore, it didn't disappoint, guys. What a win, right? Didn't disappoint, obviously, due to the win. That helped a lot. It was a blowout win. Saw crazy catches right in front of me. A lot of great big plays. It wasn't that, like some people say, a blowout win could be boring, but this one wasn't, because it was great plays that led up to this blowout, right? Great catches, great throws. They wrapped up the division. They wrapped up the best AFC team. They secured Lamar's MVP. So a lot of things went on, right? So it was great to see. I'll definitely go back at some point. Let's hear from my friend Kristen before we get into this breakdown.
For you sports bettors out there, let's be honest, you probably need a little bit of help beating those books. System Capping is a proven long-term winner against the sports betting market in multiple sports. He's built a worldwide clientele due to his high winning percentage over the years. Be sure to click the link on the bio down here to check out his profile, and you can also find out his resume, client comments, podcasts, and subscription opportunities. I'm going to be following him along too, so let's win some money together this season.
Shop around. Shop around, have multiple books to get the best number out there. I can't stress that enough. Let's get right into it. Jets versus Pats. -2.5 Pats. It moved to -1.5 now. A little surprise there. Total 30.5. I do expect this to be Bill's last game. I think most people will agree with that. It's possible he comes back. You never know. Maybe he's still a part of the organization somehow. I don't know if he goes to another team. That would be a good question. Will he start a whole nother team? I don't see that. I could see him maybe just being a part of the team somehow. Maybe stay GM, not head coach. I don't really know what's going to happen there, but I'm going to say this is going to be his last game. So let's talk about it. What an amazing career, right, for Bill. Some of his resume includes his record, 65%, 333 and 177, 65%. Won 8 Super Bowls and runner-up 4 times. Team GM, 3-time Coach of the Year. Most playoff wins as a head coach with 31. Most division titles as a head coach, 17. And so on and so on and so on. What a career with the Pats. And his team is still fighting for him, guys. That's why I do like the Pats here. I like the Pats here maybe more on the money line. Get a -120 around the market. -1.5 you can play as well. And I just think they're still fighting for him. They beat the Broncos 2 weeks ago. They played the Bills very well on the road. They only lost by 6 in that game, guys. They hung around. And there's a good spot here to end the season at home for Bill, and the team is still fighting. Are the Jets still fighting? I don't think so. Jets continue to get blown out by teams as of late, right? Miami, they got blown out. Cleveland, they got blown out. That defense is what they're known for and what they're good for, is just not playing great, right? Miami scored over 30. Cleveland scored over 30. Flacco put over 30 on them. I expect this to be low scoring, but, Zappy's showing he's decent. He's showing that he can put up some points, and this being at home, Bill Belichick's possible final game. I think the crowd will be up for this game. I think the team will be up for this game. I think Bill will try to get the best out of his team, along with Pats already beat the Jets this year. They did beat the Jets already this year, so keep that in mind. So I'm going to look at the Pats here on the money line. You get a -1.5, pretty much similar. They did win by 1 the first game. Keep that in mind. But that's going to be the theory. It's a situational bet for me. I just wanted to talk about this game because I do think it's a good situational spot for the Pats. But mainly, give a shout out to Bill Belichick, right? Got to give a shout out to him. I don't see him back. Could be wrong. The guy loves coaching, right? But I just don't see him back here. Texans -1 at Colts, 47.5 is the total there. Huge game in the AFC. Toughest one to call, in my opinion, right? But we like to talk the tough games here. The -1 spread for the road team will tell you that, how tough of a call it is. Both teams have injury lists as long as a greedy kid's Xmas list, in my opinion. It's long. It's long, but I do expect most key guys to try and give it a go. It's the biggest game of the year, right? If the Jags lose, winner of this game wins the division. Huge, right? Even if they don't win, they get the last seed in the playoffs as the wild card team, right? 7th seed for the winner of this, either Colts or Texans. These two played already. Keep that in mind. Colts won 31-20 in Houston. That was at the beginning of the year. I did think Houston will start getting going, and Stroud started getting going. Team looking better. It was week 2, to be exact. Houston is coming off a big 26-3 win. Stroud came back and had solid numbers with 24 for 32. Only needs to throw for 213 yards, though, since they were up so much, and a TD. Collins had a nice game. I was on his over 58.5 receiving yards this past week, and he went over 80. Colts also got a win at home versus the Raiders, who made it close, right? They made it close, the Raiders. We were on the +3.5 with the Raiders. They won by 3, so that was a good cash there. I expect Collins and Stroud to have another big game here. These two Stroud loves them as a target, favorite target, especially with Dell out. So if I can get it around in the same number, 58, low 60s, we're going to play Collins over again. And I'm going to play Stroud for throwing more. I expect this game to be close. I expect the Texans not to abandon the passing game, and I expect Stroud to go over his total. So I'm going to look at that in the prop market for clients this week as long as the total is favorable. I like to look at them at Friday. Some books don't come out till Friday on player props, so I'll wait until then. But look at the Collins and Stroud player props over. Did give you guys last week Dak, Prescott, and Lamb over. So hopefully you detail that in the breakdown. And we're going to go look at that way as well, Collins and Stroud over, as long as the numbers are reasonable, right? If you start seeing Collins high 60s, 70s, that I may stay away. Stroud, anything over like 250, 260, I would pull the trigger there. Tough call here, right? Tough call. The line will tell you that. I'm going to lean the Texans. I think obviously they have the better QB that can just take over the game. I think they're better coached. And the defense is a little better also, in my opinion. Right? So I expect the Texans. I expect the game to be close, but I expect Texans to steal it. Steal it at the end of a close game. You get that at -1 right now. Not a game that's going to make my client card. Just because I do think it's pretty much a 50-50 game, right? 50-50 game. I would say the Texans maybe come into this game playing a little better, and they do have Stroud, the game breaker, right? Can't really say Minshew's a game breaker. I can say he's a good manager of the game, but I expect Texans to get it done, sneak into the playoffs, and what a story that would be. What a story that would be. Houston gets into the playoffs. The only concern is, Colts are probably a little more healthy compared to the Texans. That could play a factor here. But I'm still going to lean the Texans here. Look at the prop market for the two guys that I suggested, Collins and Stroud. They may make my client card this week. Bills -3 versus Dolphins, total 49.5. The game that we'll all be waiting for on Sunday night. It's Sunday night, guys. We'll have to wait all day for this one. Can't wait for it. Winner wins the division. That's the games you want to watch, right? Those are the fun games that you want to watch week 18. The Dolphins are coming off a beating in Baltimore. Absolute beatdown. How will they respond? Did it affect them? Hard to answer that. Only they know that. After getting beat up and punched in the mouth like that, it is tough at times to bounce back. I use that theory sometimes in the UFC, right? When you get knocked out, hard to come back that next fight, right? Dolphins team proved that they just beat up bad teams all year. Sure, they beat Dallas. I'll give them that. They beat Dallas. Is Dallas really that good of a team? I would say no. And they could have lost that game very easily. Both teams just did not look great in that game. The Bills got by the Pats, I wouldn't say impressively. They beat them by 6 at home. It wasn't pretty, but they got it done. Now travel to Miami. And, what does concern me, they're 3-4 on the road. They're night and day, just like Miami, from road to home. Yes, this team is much better at home, right? 7-1 at home. They proved it in the first meeting, beating the Dolphins, 48-20 in Buffalo? 48-20 in Buffalo. Big question for Miami, I say, in this game. Definitely take a look at Waddle and Mostert, right? I don't know if Waddle's going to go. High ankle sprain, usually 2 to 4 weeks. It's only been 1 week that he's out. I expect Waddle to probably be back for the playoffs. I don't think he plays here. Watch Friday's practice report. He didn't practice Wednesday. Mostert probably will play. I think Mostert plays. I think he has a better chance of playing, but Waddle's a big loss for this offense. Watch the Friday report. We also know Bradley Chubb is out for the year. Big loss for Miami, all because they kept him down 30 with 5 minutes left in the game. Mike Bedell's terrible. The coach has taken a backlashing for that. I understand he should not be in the game. Probably want to try to pad his stats, of course, but obviously hard to predict that would happen, but it happened. So now you got to take, the backlash for it, and he is. And that's 2 of the best pass rushers out. Right? I think Taylor was his name. Middle of the year out, great pass rusher, and now Chubb. Right? I have to go Bills here. Don't love it due to the Bills' road record. They just not the same team on the road, right? But Miami's beat up right now. Just took a big pounding on the road against the best team in the NFL. How will that factor in as well? I'm going to lean the Bills here. -3, it could push. Don't love the -3. I probably love Bills more in the money line or teaser market. And I will have some action on the Bills this week for clients, either in the teaser market, maybe money line market, may also look at the prop market. But I think Bills win the division. Dolphins just not looking good here at the end of the year with the injuries and the beating that they just took. But keep in mind, they are a different team at home. Bills are a different team on the road. That's what's making me stay off it for clients. You do have to keep that in mind. You don't really know the Bills team that's going to show up on the road. Keep that in mind. But due to the Dolphins' injuries, coming off a beating, I think there's a door open for the Bills to win this game. Total 49.5. Well, first game we almost saw 70. So would I be surprised if it gets over 50? No, I definitely wouldn't be surprised. Underdogs. Didn't love anything last week. This week, a few options out there. But, nothing I'll be betting, just to let you guys know. A lot of scenarios you got to look at. Resting guys. Do you want to pull the trigger on a team resting a guy at a big underdog? I don't know. How motivated are they going to be able to win the game, right? So it is tough this week. The one here is Bears. You can get Bears at plus 150 out there in the market. And they could ruin the Packers' season. And Bears are playing just as good as anyone right now. Bears are playing good football right now. And they could go on the road and ruin the Packers' playoffs. That's something you may want to look at. It is tough because it's on the road. Right? It's on the road. I don't love that. Packers coming off a nice win last week as well, getting a little healthier. So that's something I would maybe look at as a scenario. I'm personally not betting it. Another big underdog out there, Giants plus 200 at home versus a struggling Eagles team. That's not crazy. The Giants just almost beat the Rams at home. Rams won that game by 1. Thank God I had Rams money line in that game. Got lucky there. But the Giants plus 200 at home is not crazy if you bet it to ruin, well, it wouldn't ruin the Eagles season. I don't think it matters at all. That's another thing. I don't think it matters at all. Maybe for positioning, but because Dallas looks like they're going to win division. They just got to beat Washington. Keep that in mind. Eagles are going to come out and play for this game. They're not resting anybody. But they're playing terrible right now, the Eagles. So that's good value, Giants at home plus 200. Could the Eagles just bounce back any week? Yes, they could. They're good enough on paper to do that. That could be a look as well this week. Teaser options this week. 7-point teaser, like always. Like I mentioned, Bills, you can move that up to plus 10. Right? I think Bills hang around in that game, if not win outright. Texans plus 6, another game I talked about. That game should be close, right? Colts win, I expect it to be low scoring, within 3 points or whatnot. Texans plus 6. We'll have a teaser to end the year for clients. 3-team, 7-point teaser at plus money. Playoffs is around the corner. Future playoff market betting card will be out soon, guys. Look out for that. I'll be posting it shortly. We are sitting nice for the Super Bowl. If you got on board with the future package at the start of the year, you're laughing right now. Right, 6-0 like I mentioned in the future regular season. And Super Bowl, we're sitting with 2 big tickets. Ravens plus 1,800, current line plus 400. And 49ers plus 800. We're sitting with both those right now. 49ers are what? Plus 450, plus 500 right now. So we're laughing right now. Hopefully it does pan out. We don't see an upset. I expect at least one of those teams to get to the Super Bowl, right? If not both. That will do it, guys. That will do a UFC video. We'll be back next week. We'll have playoff wildcard breakdowns as well. Like I always say, bet smart and know your limits. Take care.